Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about specifically what it means to have your sun in Cancer or your sun in the 4th house. So this is the series that I've been working on where I've been going through every single planet in every single house. I have everything up to Gemini obviously completed, so this is the start of the Cancer week, what I like to call it, so Cancer and 4th house week. So every planet I'm going to be going through in order as it relates to Cancer. So we're going to be talking about today what it means to have your sun in Cancer or your sun in the 4th house. And then tomorrow will be the moon, so on and so forth. And you will kind of see all those different planetary energies, how they relate. Now, if you know your sun sign, which is pretty common, you're going to know you're a Cancer for the most part, but you might not know if your sun is in the 4th house or not. So I put down below a link if you're interested in figuring out specifically what your sun sign placement is, if you have 4th house placements, those sorts of things. What you have going on, that will be in the description box below, as well as all the rest of the videos that I have here. So if you have any Gemini placements, which is quite likely, especially with a Cancer sun in this example, you will likely have some Gemini placements that can kind of work within that. So feel free to check that playlist down below and you'll kind of see that there. Also down below is going to be the timestamps, because I'm going to be kind of talking about a couple of different things. So if you just have your sun in Cancer, you can skip to that, or if you just have your sun in the 4th house, you can skip to that as well. So feel free to check those down below. But overall, this is going to be a really fun series. I love talking about Cancer placements. They're actually really, really enjoyable for me. They have a lot of really fun compatibility with me personally, and so I really enjoy the Cancer archetype and how Cancer kind of works within astrology and what it kind of represents. So before I get started, I'm going to let you know that we're going to talk about first what the sun just kind of means in astrology, and then we're going to kind of go into specifically the sun in Cancer and then specifically the sun in the 4th house. So I'll see in the next part we talk about specifically what it means to just the sun in general within astrology. So the sun in astrology is this very obviously solar entity. It's this very bright light. It's this where we put our identity, where we put our ego, where we put our light, what we shine in. So when we have our sun in certain areas of our chart, it's going to show specifically what areas of life and how we want to show up and how we want to shine and how we want to, what we want to expose and pay attention to. And our sun in various parts of the chart is going to illuminate that area of life as being a focus. So if our sun is in Cancer, but if our sun is in, the 9th house, it's going to be someone who has family and kind of safety being really highlighted, but in the 9th house as it relates to law and philosophy and religion, and those sorts of things are going to kind of be a part of the identity. And so wherever the sun sits, a lot of the identity becomes focused in on that area, and a lot of the key concepts or key areas of life are focused where the house is placed, as well as where the sun, or where the house the sun is placed in is at. And so the sun, depending upon where it's at in the chart, is going to really illuminate those specific areas of the chart. And also it's important to know what your specific aspects are to your sun, and what else you have going on, because some people have sun in Cancer with Saturn in Cancer, for example, or they have sun in Cancer with the square to Mars in Aries. Something like that may kind of happen that kind of adds more layers to this that we're not really going to be going into today, but I want you to know that the sun aspects are also really important to let you know more about your identity, more about how you want to show up, how you want to be seen, how you want to share your own light, share your own inner world and outer world as well, and what your identity is around those things. And so your identity in certain signs is going to be more focused upon certain themes, and your expression is going to be very different depending upon your sun sign. So with that being said, we're going to go into what it means to have sun in Cancer. The sun in Cancer has this very soft quality about it, where the sun will really illuminate the desire for this person to feel safety, to feel what their emotions really require of them. And so all Cancer placements, it's really important to look at where the moon is at and what the moon is doing, because a lot of this has to do with the concept of your own emotional needs, how you meet your emotional needs, how you settle into your emotional body, what that relationship is. And when the sun's in Cancer, there is a lot of sensitivity, a lot of emotionality tends to happen during this season of the year, and a lot of people are trying to find where they want to really root themselves into, how they really feel sure of their own feelings and feel that security that comes with the sun being in the sign of Cancer, and having that that safety and that sort of like protection that comes with the home. Because Cancer is associated with that natural fourth house, that really bottom of the chart, that purest parts of us, that the ancestry, our lineage, those sorts of things. So Cancer sun tends to illuminate the importance of family and tends to have a very rich family focus. So people that have their sun in Cancer, they tend to just have a lot more of a their eyes are more on their family and supporting their family and being of a caretaker, maternal, sort of softer sort of approach. And so a lot of the time, if the sun's in Cancer but it's placed in certain alignments, they can be maternal for a whole group or maternal for society, or have this very like natural kind of more feminine, or like traditionally feminine kind of archetype. They're very caretaking. They're very protecting of one's own resources and whatever they can deem to be family. So when you have your sun in Cancer, it's a lot about you being able to see what family means and what you call family. And also the sun in Cancer has this very like heritage, ancestry, like spokesperson kind of energy, where they can almost be the person that is speaking for the family, or that is really illuminating what the family needs to work on. And this is where, once again, the moon sign becomes really important in this example, because you really want to know, as your sun's in Cancer, where that moon is placed, because the moon will be a lot of what we see having importance when you have more Cancer placements. The more Cancer placements you have, because of this, your moon becomes more important, because that rules how you feel your feelings, how you emotionally connect to things, how you feel that safety, what it takes to feel safety. And so when the sun is in Cancer, we really are looking for safety. We are looking for this shine our light of like, how can we kind of burrow in and feel that kind of like connection and that kind of groundedness. And there is a lot of Cancer suns that also can do a lot of just things in regards to real estate. I see this more with the fourth house sorts of things, but when we see real estate, lineage, even like home decoration, you can see that a lot with Cancer. Anything that has to do with feeding and nourishing people as well, because that moon sign or that lunar quality rules those things, how we sustain and nourish ourselves. So there's a very like nourishing quality to the sun being the sign of Cancer. And so when you have your sun in Cancer, there is this emotional reactivity that needs to definitely be worked through, and the ability to feel one's feelings and work with one's feelings and really understand where that emotional impulse is coming from, and being able to work with those emotions is really important. As a Cancer sun, you're gonna have a lot of feelings, and it's how you work within that framework. So like a Cancer sun, but someone that has, their moon in, Virgo versus, their moon in Taurus is going to be very different than a Cancer sun that has their moon in Pisces, right? Or the moon in Scorpio. Very different way that they are going to want to connect to their feelings. And so there's a lot of connecting to their emotions, and those emotions will inform them of who they are. That's a lot of what we see with the sun in Cancer, is an information or an identification with their feelings, which is so important. And so that's why any water sign, but really Cancer, I think, is one of the most common, where they really are trying to feel into themselves. They're really trying to really feel the depths of them and the depths of who they are, and really feel all of their feelings, and then be informed by those feelings of, what it is that you really are, who you really are, what you're really wanting to do, how you want to be seen, how you want to show up, how you want to kind of have these emotions play a role within your life. That's really what we tend to see when we have the sun in Cancer, is this sensitivity to one's feelings that allows you to feel more connected to who you are as you feel them more, right? And that's where that moon sign has a lot to play into this, where I would really urge you to look at your moon sign as a sun in Cancer, because it's almost like your secondary for almost most people, your moon sign becomes a lot of importance, but especially when your sun's in Cancer, your moon sign becomes even more of a focus of how you meet those emotional needs, how you feel safe, how you process your feelings, how you have that emotional imprint, and how you react to that emotional imprint, and in turn integrate it, because you have the sun in Cancer, how you feel that emotional kind of body, and how you feel your own emotional body and your own kind of sensitivity. And the thing with all Cancer placements, I really urge you to understand that whenever a placement's in Cancer, it has a natural like ups and downs to it, where you'll have good days, it'll have bad days. And so there'll be, with the sun in Cancer, your identity, you'll feel really proud of yourself and you'll feel really sure of yourself sometimes, and other times it won't be there, right? It'll be this up and down that you are constantly working with. And as a Cancer sun, you're going to have constant changes in how you view yourself and what feelings are coming up and how those feelings relate to you and give you your self-concept. Your idea of self-concept is very important with the sun sign, but then when it's in Cancer, it's this really deep self-concept that you're really trying to get into. You're really trying to dive into the roots of your feelings and the depth of it, and really work with all of that. And there's so many things within that have so much of a power within them when you are willing to feel those feelings. And so if you have your sun in Cancer, I urge you once again to look at your moon sign and see how your emotions are, and understand that your emotions are really important for the entirety of your life. But for a Cancer sun, it becomes a lot more of a prevalence and a focus for you to look at those feelings and look at the feelings of others, and look at your family and your lineage and what your family has taught you, and how those emotional imprints and how those emotional responses from your family are something that you are also doing or perpetuating, or maybe not perpetuating, right? There's a lot of those things, and that's where you'll see that, once again, related to that moon sign, of kind of the specificity of your specific role when it comes to emotions and your family kind of purification, or your family karma in that regard. And typically the sun Cancers have a lot of family karma. They kind of become either the matriarch or the patriarch of their own family. And also too, I tend to find that those that are more conditioned and raised as males, as a Cancer sun, they're gonna have a little bit more, especially if they're like straight Cancer suns, they're gonna have a little bit more of a difficulty because of how sensitive they really truly are, versus women or female raised people, I feel like have a lot more of a natural understanding of this energy, because they are lunar bodies. We are all lunar bodies, and I think men struggle with this more. And we'll see this when we get to Mars in Cancer for sure, but there's a lot of misunderstanding of the ways. And I think a lot of women and female-bodied people are more understanding of that. And so there's a lot of sensitivity when it comes to Cancer, and there's a lot of understanding of your own thing, and both male, female, non-binary, all those things. It's about understanding the ebbs and flows of your own feelings and your own day-to-day, because you can't always feel great, you can't always feel amazing, and it comes and it goes. You need to understand that those feelings will have their own time with Cancer sun, and it's about how you integrate them, how you see them, and not just your feelings but everyone else's feelings, because Cancer suns have a great emotional sensitivity. They also have, Cancer placements in general are really good at being caretaking for others and being like emotional guiders for others, or helping guide people through difficult emotional turbulence, and kind of being that kind of that safe space. I think there's a lot of that we tend to see with Cancer placements, is this premise of safe space and safety. And with that, that's why I see a lot of therapists, a lot of really good therapists, a lot of really good, counselors and mothers and just caretakers and cooks and anything in hospitality. If they have Cancer placements, or nurses, they're really caring, and they have that heart to them that I think is really gorgeous and beautiful. And so if you have your sun in Cancer, look to see once again where your moon sign is at for the understanding of kind of like what your feelings are and where they're coming from and why you feel the way that you feel, and how you respond to those feelings. There's a lot of things there. So I really urge you to look at that and to understand that there is so much power in your own feelings, and as a Cancer sun, you are going to consistently be brought into more and more feelings and more depth of feelings and more ups and downs, and it's about you being able to kind of be that have that stability through the ups and downs of life and be that emotional safe space in all areas of your own life, but then also for others, right? Be able to provide that home, that safety, that security blanket that comes with the Cancer sun. So that's the Cancer sun portion. A little bit short, but I just wanted to get it kind of out of the way because the sun sign, there's so much content on the sun sign, so I'm sure you guys can find plenty of that, but this series is more so for all the rest of them and the more nuanced placements. But there's also going to be something with the sun in Cancer where there is a interesting relationship with the father, where the identification with the father's beliefs potentially, or the father's identity, can be really interesting and really emotionally imprinted. And there's an interesting family imprint and on all Cancer placements, but the sun becomes one of the most, and also sun in the fourth house has the same sort of quality where there's the family imprint and the identity that must be integrated or acknowledged or worked through and addressed. So just understand that as well as your sun is in Cancer, to know what it means to have, this emotional kind of identity, essentially, and how to work with that and the value of emotions. That's another thing, too. I think all Cancer placements need to understand the value of their own feelings and emotions, too. So, anyway, that's it for the sun in Cancer. I'll see you guys in the next part. We talk about your sun in the fourth house. Okay, so we have the sun in the fourth house. This has a very deep-rooted part of it. All the fourth house planets are going to have a very deep-rooted private part within their own chart. And when we look at the sun in the fourth house, this guarantees obviously that you are a night chart, right? Because you're born really, really at that darkest part of the day. And so your sun can be in Leo, it can be in Aquarius, it can be in Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, any of those placements. But in the fourth house, it has a very quiet, private focus, where when the sun is at this bottom part of the chart, it becomes it illuminates the family life. It becomes the one that has a very rich inner world, or a very big focus upon private themes and how their role is that they fit within those private themes and within that sort of private world of their own and in their ancestry, and what role they're filling within their family heritage and their family kind of purification process and their lineage, essentially. And so when we see the sun in the fourth, there is this identification with the father and the family, over identification with the family. Like the sun in Cancer, it can be kind of placed anywhere and there will naturally be this family identification, but the sun in the fourth house, especially in certain signs, is going to have a lot of karma around disidentifying with the family's beliefs or the family or the roots of one's family. We see that a lot with if we have a sun in Pisces or Aquarius or Scorpio in that fourth house, of kind of feeling ostracized from the family and needing to be different and needing to change the ancestral path. When we see a lot of fourth house planets, or eighth house planets, but mainly fourth house planets, I tend to always look at this as people that are the karmic ancestry breakers of the family, and the ones that are able to change the perspective of the family and how they have functioned thus far and how you want them to function moving forward. And so we see a lot of power with the fourth house sun, especially if it's located in Aries, for example. This is a very powerful sun placement, naturally and organically. And I did talk about this in my sun in Aries video, obviously. And the sun Aries in the fourth house this is the absolute, this is the real estate investor. This is the one that becomes a leader of their family like that. The one that kind of runs the household, head of household energy, with both sun in Aries in the fourth, sun in Capricorn in the fourth. It's Scorpio as well, but there's a little bit more of an uphill battle for that. Same with Capricorn. But sun in Aries, sun in Leo in the fourth, they both have this very head of household leader kind of type of energy in that regard. You'll see that a lot with some fourth house planets as we talk about them throughout the course of this week. You're going to see there's going to be a lot of different head of household and household focused parts as it comes to Cancer placements and fourth house placements. And so there's a lot of identification with the family, how you root yourself into that. And when the sun's here, there's a really big focus on what your role is within emotional stability and emotional caretaking and comfort, and how you create comfort in your environment, what your home environment looks like, and your ability to ground into that. And like I said, a more difficult sun, like an Aquarius sun, Libra sun, even a Pisces sun in the fourth house may have a little bit of a distance from their family. They may not feel comfortable with their family or like they belong with that family. And that's likely because they're meant to be the ones that are changing that family. So there's almost, the thing about the sun in the fourth, it almost forces the identification with the family, and depending upon that sign that sun's in the fourth house is going to layer how that identification with the family needs to either change, stabilize, or evolve, or kind of merge. Any of those sorts of words are definitely going to be something that the sun in the fourth is going to have to understand, because you are going to be identified with your family. You are going to understand your family heritage and need to really illuminate and look towards that for your own guidance, for your own understanding, for your own sort of light and truth. And so we see so many different fourth house planets that all link back to what did your family do and what role are you going to have in the family. And I see this the most commonly with the sun, Saturn as well, but Saturn in the fourth is a little bit more of a long game. The sun in the fourth becomes this role that you're bringing with you everywhere, this identification where you're bringing this everywhere. So if we see, a sun in Gemini in the fourth, there is this person who is almost, meant to be like the family's kind of writer, or the family's kind of like student, and kind of really become that kind of scribe for the family. Even I've seen that sometimes where they are writing their entire family's heritage and creating this very deep sort of ancestral understanding through their awareness that the sun naturally brings into any house that's placed in it. It forces an awareness of those things. And so when the sun is in that fourth house, it has this new awareness of what it is within the family, what the family really means. And so when we see the sun in the fourth, and all these fourth house placements have this, but about chosen family and what you believe family to be, what you really truly want comfort to feel like. What does comfort feel like? And with the sun, it's a lot about how you are the light to bring that comfort, or how you are allowing yourself to be seen privately. I see with the sun in the fourth house, because it's so private, because it's so quiet, it's so, so dark during where the sun is. The sun's not really seen at that point. And so it's like the darkest the day could possibly get when the sun's in the fourth. There's absolutely no sunlight. And once again, this is where the moon becomes a lot more prominent, just because you are naturally a night chart, so your moon is going to have more prominence anyway. But with the sun in the fourth, we see this like, how am I creating safety? How am I being that person in my own life? How am I, rooting into my own feelings and experiences, and how am I able to really know who I am? Who am I? There's a lot of that, like identity seeking that we tend to see with the sun in the fourth house, because they're trying to root even deeper into that. And it's almost like some sun in fourth house people can be really identified with their family and have a great, rich, amazing life with their family. However, they can also be on the other end really overly identified with their family, and then needing to disidentify with that, or learn differently about how they would want to connect to family, or what family means to them, which is why the concept of family becomes such a huge theme for all these fourth house planets. But the sun becomes even more important, because it's about how you are showing up in the world, how you are showing yourself to the world in a way that is in congruence with what family means to you. And a lot of that is going to be really layered. And so it's a lot about you being that leader in the family, or you pioneering or changing your identification with the family. But at the end of the day, it's a lot about you identifying where your role in the family is meant to be, and where others' roles have been within the family, especially the sun in the fourth house. Sun in Cancer has this, but the roles of others is also really illuminated with the sun in the fourth house. You'll see a lot of family, like this is where marriage family therapists become great people with the sun in the fourth house, also sun in Cancer, but because they're aware of a lot of family dynamics and what a family consists of, and what emotions are running the show essentially, and how we are working within our own feelings and our own kind of guidance system that comes with emotions in that way. And so we see that the sun in the fourth really wants to identify who am I? Who am I? My deepest core values and core feelings, and it has to feel into that and explore that and really go into its depth of its own lineage, its own ancestry, its own kind of genetic makeup, even in quite literal ways sometimes, and be able to ensure that they are creating the safest internal world for not just themselves, but everyone around them that they choose to bring into that internal world, being able to be that gift for others of what it is that it looks like, and be that leader, because that's what the sun is. It's a leader. It's our guiding light in a lot of ways. And when it's kind of hidden from view in the fourth house, it's still doing stuff, but it's doing stuff in a way that is very private to a lot of us that are perceiving sun fourth house people, because they are very private. They have a very rich inner world. And granted, the sun in the fourth house can have so many different layers to it, with aspects that pull it out into a public domain, obviously. But it's important, and that's where it's important to see what the sign is that your sun sign is obviously in that fourth house, but to see where what the ruler of that fourth house is, or that fourth house sun sign is, and be able to see how that's also playing into it. So kind of look at it as like a map and kind of seeing, okay, well, this goes here, this goes here. The sun is, in my fourth house, but let's say, it's in Virgo, so where's my Mercury at? Or if the sun's in Taurus, where's my Venus at? Sun in Aries, where's my Mars at? Scorpio, where's my Mars at? Stuff like that, right? So it's a lot about knowing, and you can kind of see this more as you go through more intermediate concepts with astrology, is kind of seeing how it all kind of picks up and kind of works together. And I love teaching this, and I actually, weird plug, but I have my own beginner's course down below if you're interested in that, when I go into a lot of these concepts, but a little bit more of teaching you how to read your own natal chart and how to kind of go through in that order, and kind of understand how we are, how simple it is when it comes to astrology, because I've been doing this for quite some time, and I want to be able to teach and make it in a very digestible manner for a lot of people. Now, back to the sun in the fourth house, we see that the sun here, depending upon the sign that it's in, is going to really, really lean into certain themes, right? If we have sun in Aquarius in the fourth house, this is going to be the one who really doesn't feel like they belong in their family, and there's a lot of ostracization that they're going to have. Even the sun in Libra can have that as well. Sun in Scorpio, this is a lot of a leadership energy here, but this is where I would really see this as someone who has a very prominent role within their family, especially because most Leo risings have Scorpio in the fourth house. And so a Scorpio sun in the fourth house becomes your chart ruler. And so this becomes a really prominent role for those that are Scorpio suns in the fourth house, about really, really, really burning up that karma and being able to see your role and live from your heart, live from your truth, live from your inner child, and live past all the trauma and all the disempowerment and all the things that your family may not want to see, right? Scorpio sun in the fourth has a little bit, and I'll get to this when I end up eventually doing the Scorpio season, which I'm so excited about for obvious reasons. I'm a Scorpio sun myself, and there's a lot of just power dynamics with disempowerment of what they're showing to the world with that Scorpio sun in the fourth house, what they're showing to their family, rather, is what I should really focus in on there. Now, when we see, more of a Aries sun or Leo sun here, these are going to be a lot more leadership, a lot more comfortable, but there is still going to be a focus on what their identity is, what their family is, what their family wants from them, what their role is within that family unit, and being able to lead that in a very pioneer, proud sort of way with those two sun signs there. And if you put a Venusian sign there, Libra or Taurus, there is going to be a need to kind of keep that peace. And so I think sun and Libra in the fourth struggles a little bit more than most because of that that difficulty for the sun in Libra to see its own role. And so there's a lot of, this is where you'll see like a scapegoated child, or someone who is really stuck in the middle between the husband and wife, or the mom and dad, or just the parents in general, if they're in a non-traditional household in that regard. And then, we see, if we put sun in Jupiterian signs, right, Sag or Pisces, this is a really, this is where the philosophical part comes in. This is where someone needs to figure out the meaning of what they went through with their family. All the sun in the fourth house is going to have to do this, but the sun in a Sag or Pisces area is going to really focus in on that, and a lot more of a prominence than the other ones, and needing to kind of unravel that belief system there. And then the Saturnian suns, both Capricorn and Aquarius, there's going to be a lot more of a long game with this, and a lot more. I would recommend, if you have any Saturnian fourth house things, whether it's Sun in Capricorn in the fourth, Sun in Aquarius in the fourth, or any of these placements in Capricorn, Aquarius in the fourth house, or especially Saturn, is to look to your elders. And look to the older generations, because the fourth house planets really want you to look to your family heritage. And with any Saturnian energy there, especially the Sun in Capricorn, Sun in Aquarius, it's a lot about how you are, utilizing and utilizing those that came before you to build your own foundation of your role in the family and how you want your family to be, and really able to create a new and a strong foundation for family with those Capricornian and Aquarian suns in that fourth house. And so there's a lot there too to kind of unravel, and I'll get to those eventually when I get to the Sun in Capricorn and Aquarius. But I think there's so many things with the Sun in the fourth house that I really urge you to look into your own identity and what your family role is, because your role is going to be really big, and it's going to definitely be a leadership role, but it's about how you are bringing that into your private world, and then potentially into other areas of your life, and how you are utilizing your rich inner world to sustain your other goals, or your other relationships, or your other ambitions and things in your life. And really having a solid foundation and a solid home cannot be overexpressed. The need to have that, the need to have somewhere that you can call home, that you can just feel that safety in. And with the Sun in the fourth house and all these fourth house planets this week, it's a lot about that focus upon what safety feels like, and being able to create that safety and have that home within you wherever you go, and being able to shine that light in this example with the Sun of what it means to have family, and be that family people, be that caretaker, that homebody, that one that really, really wants to help people in a lot of emotional ways that they might not be able to help themselves in, right? And it can't be, like I said, it can't be overexpressed how important family is, and also how important, I know everyone's relationship to family, especially as I go through this fourth house series, is going to be very, very, very different. And so there's a lot of sensitivity I have with this specific part of the chart, because it is a very, very, very sensitive part. And so I understand the concept of family is going to be very layered for everyone with fourth house placement. However, I also urge you to think about the importance of all those layers of family and comfort and safety. And you can create a home within yourself through your ability to go through your family difficulties. And everyone has their own family karma, their own family issues. We all do, right? And so I think it's important to see what yours specifically is. And you only know that because you've lived it more than I have, or any astrologer that reads your chart has. They have not lived your life. They don't know all of your experiences. They don't know all your exposure you've had to certain things. And so I urge you really to look into your sun signs dispositor, meaning where your sun kind of goes in that regard, and look into those specific things. And look into what safety means for you. And like I said, if you guys are interested in any of these sorts of information, you may want to book with me. My stuff's down below, and my website's down below as well too. I'm so excited to do the series. It's super fun. There's so many different things in this that I have to talk about. And I'm looking forward to all of the feelings that are going to come up. And I urge you to kind of share them with me. I'd love to hear what your family experience has been like, good and bad and ugly, all of those things. This is a safe space for you to put those things. And I really, really urge you to just allow yourself to feel your feelings and see your role, and see that there is so much importance you have to bring that safety with you everywhere, even outside of your family and outside of what that has been for you. And so I really urge you to look into that and know that you have an important role here with your sun in the fourth house. So thank you so much for being here today. Like I said, if you guys are interested in anything with me, of course, this series is going to be going on for a while, so feel free to check out the playlist down below and subscribe to that playlist, or subscribe to myself, obviously. And we can kind of move from there, and you'll see way more videos coming out from me here too. So I love you guys, appreciate you guys, and I will talk to you guys soon.